The Stage Door Show, celebrating the independent artist. With your host, Dave Hondel.
Hi, this is Adele Pomerenke, and you're listening to The Stage Door Show with Dave Hondel.
Hi, everyone. This is Dave Hondel. Welcome to The Stage Door Show tonight. Very excited to have our guest. What doesn't she do? She's a great actress, dancer, accomplished singer, musician, a lifelong career as a ballerina, and we're so happy to have her with us tonight, Adele Pomerenke. So thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, the discipline that goes into dance, even at a young age, I think that it really kind of helps, prepare you for other things in the creative arts. And I know that you've done so many things over the years. So talk about your dance background and kind of how that started and kind of your progression, in dance.
So it did start at 3. It was mostly just like the tap, jazz, musical theater. Started as a kid. My grandmother was a professional dancer, so she kind of influenced me to do it, and then I did fall in love with it. I wanted to actually, when I got older, I didn't want to do ballet. I was really rebellious, and I was like, oh, it's too stuck up, But so when I was a teenager, I kind of like went away from it for a little bit and was really into like circus arts and other, more rock and roll type stuff. But then I came back to it because you got to do it when you're young. Ballet, you got to decide because your body is going to adapt to the movements of it. So yeah, I got serious about it, and then I ended up getting a contract in Tennessee, and I moved there and danced with Dance Theater Tennessee and then Nashville Ballet. And then acting was not the plan, but now I'm in LA doing that as well.
Well, and the thing is with ballet as well, and I know like a lot of athletes do ballet, and just the movements. I think it's such an important part of somebody's training in their body and doing athletic type things. And I know you just mentioned some of the circus arts as well, which I think is really cool. I met a lot of people in the circus arts recently, and it's one of my new loves, I guess, to watch people in the circus, because I think like ballerinas, in the circus, there's a lot of discipline that goes on as well there, right? I mean, because you're doing a lot of acrobatic type things, and is that something you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I think I'm obsessed with like the challenge of the athleticism and like getting better. And it's nothing, that's the thing about an art form, especially one that has to do with like, physicality. You can always get better at it, and you can never perfect it, but you're always striving for this sense of perfection, I guess. And it's fun because it never really gets boring as long as you're looking at new ways to improve in different ways. And I definitely think that's very similar in like circus arts and really any movement with the body. It's something that you can always mold at and work at more.
Well, I definitely have a respect for people like you that can do stuff like that and do it well. Talk about acting. We mentioned that you got into acting when you went to Nashville. Yeah. So how did it go from dancing to acting?
I know it's kind of random. So I was without a contract for a season. I was gonna go on this tour thing, which is kind of like it was a pilot, and it was gonna go on tour, like this live production, kind of like America's Got Talent type situation-ish.
Yeah.
But it fell through last minute, and I had given up my spot to renew with Nashville Ballet. So I'm kind of panicking because ballet dancers, when you don't have a contract for a season, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? There's going to be this gap in my resume. You do something for 20 plus years, 6-7 days a week, and then all of a sudden you don't have that.
Right.
It was really weird. So I got an agent, and I was like, well, maybe I can get some stuff on music videos and stuff, because it's Music City, right?
Sure.
And I remember talking to somebody, and they were like, oh, we do background stuff on sets. I was like, well, maybe I can do that to make some money and have fun, and maybe I can get an agent. And I just wanted to do some dance work while I was going to get ready and audition for the next season coming around other places. But then I got cast in a music video, and then I got cast in a short film, which I did not expect. And I just really fell in love with it, and it felt so natural. And the next thing you know, I got cast in a film with Kevin Sorbo and James Russo over here. And so I was flying to LA for a movie, and I was like, maybe I should just move to LA. Because now I'm flying here to act in a movie. So yeah.
Did you kind of have to
Here we
pinch
are.
yourself a little bit to say, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" You know, right? I mean, you're in a movie with Kevin Sorbo, and now you're in LA.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm on Star Trek. That's crazy. I did not expect it. I was always like, I'm just going to be a ballerina. I'm going to be in the corps de ballet. That's difficult enough. That's already the 1%, right?
Right. Different plans. You know, I want to talk about the Star Trek Picard because, you know, talk about being on one of the most famous franchises in the history of film and TV. Was that just amazing to get that role? And how was the process of getting that role?
That was amazing. And it's still kind of like, wow. Yeah, that happened. It didn't really hit me until after I was done, or after I had my first just really chill conversation with Patrick Stewart. We talked about ballet, actually.
Sure.
And then I got home and I was winding down. And I was like, oh my God. I was just on set with lines with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was crazy. And so the audition was, I got the audition, and it was just a self-tape. And they, you know, I sent it and everything. I had a lot of fun with it. And they didn't ask for a callback or anything. And so when they send it, it's a working title. It's not Star Trek Picard. It said some weird title or something. I don't remember.
Sure.
And I was like, this is Star Trek. This is 100% Star Trek.
Oh, you didn't even know it was Star Trek when you auditioned?
No, because they don't want to give that away. They don't want even the competition. And then the script for the audition itself, the lines are made up. They're not ever lines they're actually using.
Sure.
But I just knew.
Yeah.
I knew when I read it. I was like, this is Star Trek.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. Oh, there you go.
That's crazy. You know, and just being in Star Trek, I mean, obviously there's like you have to go into makeup and all that kind of stuff. What's that process like? I mean, I know because I've seen it, and I know that you have some kind of makeup process, right?
Yeah, I have prosthetics.
Okay.
So I think the earliest time I had to go in was like 3 a.m.
Oh, wow. I mean, what time did you start shooting?
Sometimes not till like 7 or 8.
Wow, you're in the chair that long. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, you're in the chair and you'll hurry up and wait. And the funniest part about it, like, Bianca was my makeup artist, and she was amazing. The continuity, she got on it every day because, so in it looks like my normal eyebrows. Those are not. No, they put a whole.
Oh, really?
They covered up my entire eyebrows.
Okay.
And then they had eyebrows made to look like my natural eyebrows I have now, and then they put them on top of the prosthetics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
she got them lined up every time.
Just
perfectly.
right. Yeah.
Just right. Yeah. So I think the eyebrows, a lot of that time that was stamped away was to give her time to get the eyebrows on there just right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like a Star Trek episode like that, I'm sure there's a certain kind of feel they want. I mean, how did you learn that? I mean, did you have to watch a bunch of episodes of Star Trek or different parts of the franchise to kind of get that feel, I guess, for Star Trek?
Yeah, I chose to. Honestly, I like to do my homework.
Yeah.
I don't know about other actors so much, but I kind of maybe go a little overboard. Maybe that's the ballerina in me, and just totally immersing in what it is.
Yeah.
And all the little details you have to think about. So I just put that into my acting, right?
Yeah.
And I watched the old Next Generation, and then I watched the episode with the other Hillian character.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched, the whole first season of Picard just to get comfortable with it, and mostly watched a lot of bridge action with different crew members from different Star Trek shows, especially the helmsman, because that's who I was.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, when I knew you were going to come on the show, I was like so excited because I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm not like, I don't watch every single one of them, but I've always been a fan, even when I grew up with William Shatner. I mean, that's when I grew up, when
He's so cool.
the
Those are
real
the ones
one.
I like the most. Yeah, I like the old ones.
Like the old ones.
Yeah,
I mean,
all those 60 shows and stuff too. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely love those. So I mean, yeah, it's amazing that you're on that show. The other thing is I'm a big fan of bloopers and things like that. So do you ever have any bloopers that are funny?
I haven't received any yet, but I feel like they might be coming. I do know I got in trouble. I was so bored and I was tired. I think this was my 3 a.m. call time, and they decided to keep me late.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting, and these chairs spin, which they should have never given me a spinning chair.
Yeah.
And I'm just like spinning around, and I know the director, Doug, is like, hey, no spinning in the space chairs. And I was like, I didn't realize that I was just like going for it in this chair because I was so tired. It was just like, so if they caught that somewhere, that's pretty good.
That is funny for sure.
Yeah.
I know you also, you're a musician and a singer. So, I mean, you're a quadruple threat. I mean, think about it.
I haven't done music in a long time anymore. Yeah. I've been so busy with this stuff. I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
When I was in Nashville, I had my band.
Okay.
And it was like heavier rock, almost borderline metal, like early 2000s heavy rock,
My favorite. My favorite. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. You think about like Tool or Korn or like In This Moment kind of.
Right.
Yeah. And I really do miss doing music. Anytime I keep going to like go back to all my songs or like try and get it together to do something else happens with acting or an audition.
Right.
I really want to do a self-titled album sometime in the future.
Yeah. Well, you can definitely do it. I mean, we want to hear it because, like I said, that's kind of my genre of music anyway. But, and I was going to mention Nashville when you were there because Nashville we have a lot of people on the show that either live in Nashville or they moved to Nashville to get into music or the arts. And what was your experience like in Nashville? Because I would think that for, being a musician or even an actor, I mean, Nashville's the place to be, right?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I'm really fortunate that my career started in Nashville, because it built up my resume a lot with experiences and stuff. So the fact that when I moved to LA, I already had a full resume of having done all this music and done all this acting and done enough stuff. And I'm so thankful to Nashville for that. And the people are so cool there. They're so willing to just help you out and like, just so down to earth. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to talk about this because this is something I've talked about in some of my shows, but I want to ask you because you're in the industry. A lot of our indie artist listeners, we try to help groom them a little bit to get into their career in any kind of entertainment. It doesn't matter what genre they're in, but one of the most important things that we talk about is how you treat people in the industry, whether it be the makeup artist, whether it be the hairstylist, whether it be the person running the casting, that type of thing. And, talk about the importance of how you brand yourself, I guess, when you're in the business, and then the importance of that, I guess, how you act, how you treat other people.
Right. That one, I love that one, actually, honestly. It's just being kind. We're just, at the end of the day, everyone's just a person.
Right.
Sometimes we go to work with one of our socks inside out, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
I think I get really tired of the scale of like, this person's this so they get treated better, or this person's this so they get treated worse. I've never been a fan of that.
Right.
I don't like that very much personally. That's kind of really hard to break down that function too, especially on set.
Right.
Especially like, live music. You look at the people, the roadies or grips or techs or anything, right? And how they're treated compared to performers and stuff. It kind of really bothers me, but I always make an effort to just like treat everybody exactly the same, because you never know who's actually just filling in to lay down some drywall for the day. You don't know who that person is.
Right. You
don't know who's driving in traffic that's going to the same set as you, and your behavior is a huge reflection of your success. I mean, I would want to work with a nice person. So think about who you'd want to work with, right?
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
What about what is your biggest piece of advice for somebody that's getting into the industry, no matter what it is, either a dancer, actor, singer? What's your biggest advice for somebody that's thinking about getting into the industry?
Don't fall into FOMO. Don't fall into fear of missing out. You're gonna miss out on stuff, but it's not because you did something wrong. It's just because it wasn't meant to be.
Right.
It's 100%. You're not going to miss out on the opportunities that were meant for you. You just won't. Unless you're actively avoiding them, like sitting on the couch and just hiding away and choosing not to do anything. But even then, it's okay to have days where you do that. You need those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just create your own stuff. Don't wait on other people. Like, other people are there to help you, and that's great, and you can help other people too, but make an effort to make your own material. It also feeds you back too, instead of waiting for somebody else to give you an opportunity. It keeps you going, keeps your craft top notch as well.
Talk about creating, because obviously you do so many different things, and talk about that need to create. And when did that start? Like, when did you kind of get that passion to create?
Okay, so when I was dancing, when I was like early 20s, like 20, 21, maybe even younger than that, maybe late teens, I really had this idea for like choreography to all these different songs I like to do, and I just go to this magical place in my head. So it wasn't until I was dancing with Anaheim Ballet and I first moved here to California, and I was like seeing people make dance videos, and Anaheim Ballet had More Than Dance series where they did little clips of dancing in their studios, and I was like, I think I should just make my own dance video. I'm just gonna make my own dance video. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go above that, and I'm gonna make this series. I'm gonna take this book of choreography that I have, that I've been working on for forever, or books I should say, and make a series about it. So I did. So I made a series called Dance Mix, and I'm hoping to start making the third one soon. Yeah. The first one was to be like, can I do this? Yes. The second one was like, can I do a storyline with this? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to make a third one.
And what's next? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just, after I made the first one, I realized how fun it was. Like, even the editing I found really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't really, it feeds me back. Like I said, when you make your own stuff like that, it feeds you back. I'm not waiting on somebody else to, and then to give me an opportunity. And then when it comes out, it's exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I noticed also you grew up in a kind of a rural area in Washington, correct? So talk about growing up like in a rural area versus maybe the city. And did that give you, I guess, the opportunity to use your imagination, I guess, more? Or sometimes when people grow up in rural areas, they become successful because they grew up in like at the farm, or they grew up in, because they know hard work, and they know what it's like to, they don't have the conveniences maybe as somebody that lives in the city, so they have time to kind of be more creative, I guess, if that makes any sense. So is that kind of the same 100%. Thing with you?
Yeah, and I think the ingenuity that it encourages in you, right? Because you don't really know how to do the things that you want to do, that some people who have been born into the industry or born into that, or have those opportunities in the bigger city or with more connections, right? So you have to kind of be a little bit more creative and be a little more like ingenuitive and think about, how am I going to do this? And then also it's a lot of fuel, because you're just like, you don't really feel like you fit in a small town for, you're so artistic,
sure.
Right? I really didn't very well. I did the best I could. Most of my friends were degenerates, and so was I, because there wasn't, it's just kind of the people you get along with in a small place, rural place. There's a lot of creative people in my hometown.
You got to make your own fun, basically, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got to make it up as you go. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's just the generation before like cell phones all the time too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think the hard work too, sometimes it gets really shocking, like when I get onto a project over here and I realize how, like, my expectation is how much I'm putting in is not what they expected me to. They're like, oh wow, you didn't have to do that.
Sure.
Well, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do the extra work? That's what I'm used to doing, right?
You're used to it, yeah.
Do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
It's just, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, because I really, like I said, we try to encourage and inspire other artists, and to see what you can do out there. It's just, it's amazing. So, I know that you're inspiring our listeners out there, but I do have one. So. I do have one major question for you, and actually two, but I'm going to start with this one. What if there was a dream role out there, an acting role that you just, you see maybe on somebody on TV, a role that you want to play, what would that dream role be?
Well, I've been looking at it for a while, but I think they've already cast somebody for it. And it was Len Wiseman's Ballerina. It was the John Wick spinoff they're doing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's an assassin.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow.
That sounds like
that's amazing.
So much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, or doing a biopic or something of like of maybe like Nancy Sinatra or like Rita Hayworth, or some type of old famous dancer or something. That would be really cool to kind of step into that golden Hollywood.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun too. Those would be my dream roles.
And then also, your legacy. What would you like your legacy to be when it's all said and done? When you're done with, when you just want to relax and retire, and if that ever happens, what would you want your legacy to be? People to remember you by?
That she was real, just a real person. Yeah. That it never went to my head. I didn't let it go to my head, and I stayed grounded.
Yeah.
Just a real person.
It's amazing. So how can people find you on social media? Because I know that, my listeners, again, they love to look everybody up and to reach out to people. And so how can they find you?
I think on Instagram, it's at Adele Pomerenke. And then Twitter, it's Adele Pomerenke. We just use the middle name sometimes. Who knows? And then on TikTok, it's AMP Pomerenke. So Amp Pomerenke. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole different world, me on Twitter.
Yeah, I respect people on Twitter. I still haven't perfected Twitter. It's like my Instagram is like the one thing that I normally do most of. So I'm looking to do Twitter at some point someday.
I'm so bad at it. I haven't figured it out. Yeah, and then my TikTok is just like, I don't know. That's just me being just a goofball. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It makes no sense.
But I saw some of your TikToks, and I think they're really fun. So it's and that's the other thing too is social media. I mean, what do you think of social media, and what do you think of, like connecting with your fans? I guess connecting with the people that watch you. How important that is that to you? Because I know back in the day we didn't have social media, and now that we do, it's one of those avenues that we could utilize. So how do you use it, and how important is it to you?
I like to use it to connect with fans more than anything else. Yeah. It's kind of exhausting, honestly. It's like this weird portfolio.
Yeah.
So anything you put on there can and will be used against you.
And it does. Right.
Like I had an old Twitter from when Twitter first came out, and I was young and dumb and said a lot of opinionated things. And I was like, "Ooh, no!" I just deleted that entire thing. I was like, "That could come back and be really bad. I am not that person anymore."
Just got rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got rid of it. I was going to start over, whatever. I don't know. It's kind of exhausting, to be honest. It can be fun, but my goal, my personal career, is to get successful enough that I can hire somebody else to manage.
To do it for you, yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. I'm a one-man show when it comes to this podcast, and eventually I just need to hire somebody and do this because you're right. I don't get any sleep.
I know. You're staring at the screen all day.
The whole day. And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm posting something again."
It's work. They're like, "Oh, you're on Instagram." Like, but you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's work to be on Instagram for me.
Yeah, it's more to do, but you know what? I think you're definitely successful, and again, Adele, I just can't thank you enough for being on the show. You're just a delight. Just so talented and down to earth and humble and the whole thing. So I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.